Good morning, everyone. Welcome to Miracle Network's Wednesday meditation. I'm so glad you're all here to share this time together. This week we have Kenny Mammarella-D'Cruz who will lead us in meditation, and then we'll have 20 minutes of silence. And after that, we're going to open it up for sharing. Over to you, Kenny.
Thank you. I am so pleased to be here again, to see your familiar smiling faces and to share a bit of a journey, actually. Today's the 1st of November, which is the beginning of Men's Health Month, or Movember. And I chose lesson 79. Let me recognize the problem so it can be solved. The reason I chose that is because it said that men often need to fix things. Rather than just listen or be with things, fix things. What's the problem? Where's the problem? What should I be doing? So hopefully, and I know when I read this, my mind goes to so many places. Hopefully, with this slightly complicated piece, you can stay with me. So let me recognize the problem so it can be solved. A problem cannot be solved if you do not know what it is. Even if it is really solved, and already you will still have the problem because you will not recognize that it has been solved. This is the situation of the world. The problem of separation, which is really the only problem, has already been solved. Yet the solution is not recognized because the problem is not recognized. Everyone in this world seems to have his own special problems, yet they are all the same and must be recognized as one if the one solution that solves them all is to be accepted. Who can see that a problem has been solved if he thinks the problem is something else? Even if he is given the answer, he cannot see its relevance. That is the position in which you find yourself now. You have the answer, but you are still uncertain about what the problem is. A long series of different problems seems to confront you, and as one is settled, the next one and the next arise. There seems to be no end to them. There is no time in which you feel completely free of problems and at peace. The temptation to regard problems as many is the temptation to keep the problem of separation unsolved. The world seems to present you with a vast number of problems, each requiring a different answer. This perception places you in a position in which your problem solving must be inadequate and failure is inevitable. No one could solve all the problems the world appears to hold. They seem to be on so many levels, in such varying forms, and with such varied content that they confront you with an impossible situation. Dismay and depression are inevitable as you regard them. Some spring up unexpectedly, just as you think you have resolved the previous ones. Others remain unsolved under a cloud of denial and rise to haunt you from time to time, only to be hidden again, but still unsolved. All this complexity is but a desperate attempt not to recognize the problem and therefore not to let it be resolved. If you could recognize that your only problem is separation, no matter what form it takes, you could accept the answer because you would see its relevance. Perceiving the underlying constancy in all the problems that seem to confront you, you would understand that you have the means to solve them all. And you would use the means because you recognize the problem. In our longer practice periods today, we will ask what the problem is and what is the answer to it. We will not assume that we already know. We will try to free our minds of all the many different kinds of problems we think we have. We will try to realize that we have only one problem which we have failed to recognize. We will ask what it is and wait for the answer. We will be told. Then we will ask for the solution to it, and we will be told. The exercises for today will be successful to the extent to which you do not insist on defining the problem. But perhaps you will not succeed in letting all your preconceived notions go, but that is not necessary. All that is necessary is to entertain some doubt about the reality of your version of what your problems are. You are trying to recognize that you have been given the answer by recognizing the problem, so that the problem and the answer can be brought together and you can be at peace. The shorter practice periods for today will not be set by time, but by need. You will see many problems today, each one calling for an answer. Our efforts will be directed toward recognizing that there is only one problem and one answer. In this recognition, are all problems resolved? In this recognition, there is peace. Be not deceived by the form of problems today. Whenever any difficulty seems to arise, tell yourself quickly, let me recognize this problem so it can be solved. Then try to suspend all judgment about what the problem is. If possible, close your eyes for a moment and ask what it is. You will be heard and you will be answered.
Open your eyes and come back into the room. We have 18 minutes left for sharing your reflections and your questions. If you'd like to speak, raise your hand, or you can use the raised hand in the reactions button at the bottom of the screen, and I'll invite you to share. And if you'd like to say something with confidentiality, put your message in the chat function at the bottom of the screen, and I'll read it out. Who'd like to share? Teresa.
Thank you, Kenny. Oh, it's lovely being all together and meditating. So thank you. Thank you for the lesson that you chose. It reminds me, I know you talked about International Men's Day, but I thought to myself, well, this is my mind as well, churning around all the useless, and not just once, but many times, all the different problems, how I can solve them. And I keep getting images, probably the autumn, of all these thoughts as leaves, and I just need to let them settle onto the ground. But yesterday we had very interesting, anything that could have been turned up as thoughts and leaves and changes to the plan, the wonderful plan, was changed. And it's amazing how I was quite happy that, like, first of all, my first thought was, no, it's too busy. I can't do this, can't do that. And then a gentle voice came in and said, just do it. So the whole day was changed, and it was a beautiful day. And even to the very end of the day, which could have been a problem, it still was, all the problems were sorted without my interference, really. So thank you for that lesson, and thank you it's nice to see you.
Thank you. As you were speaking, what came to mind are my two main addictions in my life. And I would say one is control and attachment to how things should be and how they should be along the way, so I can be safe and in control. And it just caused me pain. And I went round in circles because the only thing that was allowed were things that I already had that I didn't really want anymore. And I wanted to be off the hamster wheel. But my control kept me on the hamster wheel. And the other one was looking for trouble, fearful thoughts and fearful fantasies, and fixing my fearful thoughts and fantasies, and they may not even exist, looking for trouble. And in a way, I feel that was my protector, taking care of me by telling me what to watch out for, and maybe even my inner critic criticizing me, so I know how to survive that criticism in case it comes from other people. And what I've had to learn to do is take a deep breath as soon as I'm lost in the space between my ears and listen. Let the adult in me listen to the fears and fantasies and the need to control, and reconnect with myself and be available to reconnect with everyone and everything, and respond rather than react. I used to turn on them. First, they were my addiction, and then they were my enemy. But it all needed accepting. And a lot of that fear is quite handy information if I take it as information and then I have choice. But how embarrassing and how liberating to name my two greatest addictions of my life.
Who'd like to share? I'll jump in. Yesterday we went to look after our granddaughter who lives about half an hour away, and so we drove there, and I dropped Teresa off, and she went in to look after the little one, and then I went to look for a car parking space, and there are some spaces which you can park there all day, but they're all taken. So I drove around and around and around, and I couldn't find anything. The best I could do was 2 hours in Sainsbury's car park. So I just kept on looking and looking. And I was getting so stressed. I was so upset, and my mind was just, going crazy with thoughts like, oh, maybe I'll drive home and get a taxi over, and all this stuff. And so I just parked up, and I just, as you said, breathe deep, and that really helps. And then I just give it to Holy Spirit and say, Holy Spirit, how would you have me see this? And what came to me was, relax, all is well. So I felt relief. The stress and the tension and the pain disappeared. And I drove into Sainsbury's car park, and I thought, okay, well, I'll park here for 2 hours. That's okay. And I'll just keep coming back. And then on the way out, I saw this sign that said, quick parking, use this QR code. So I thought, oh, what's that? So I found that I can park with this QR code all day in Sainsbury's, and which I did. So I didn't have to, I was relieved, the problem was solved. So yeah, that was my story from yesterday. Thank you.
I love that story. It feels like you were tricked into presence to be given a gift.
Linda?
Hello, Linda.
Hi. Yes, that was wonderful, Kenny. Really, really wonderful. It showed me what's been happening in very recent. My problem is that I'm not very good at saying no, and it's got me into some really stressful times the last couple of weeks, especially. And I got really angry with myself and with the chap that asked me to feed his animals in a different town. I got really angry. And then I asked to see it differently, and it said, this is a gift. And immediately I could see that it was showing me that I need to take control of myself and listen to what is given me through Jesus and Holy Spirit. So there's been a few that I've had to ease off and look differently and look after myself. And today I had a couple of people come round to see me, but I'm also going out with Dennis here to sort some car insurance out. We're both looking at the same thing. And the people that I was supposed to be having coming round, I couldn't find their number to phone. I've been looking for a few days, over and over, looking in the same places. And last night, it said, sit and meditate. So that's what I did. I sat quietly, and then immediately afterwards, it came to me, it's time to take your birthday cards down now. It's been up a month. Everyone's, all the prices of the cards. I think, no, I'm going to enjoy them. So I've enjoyed them for a month, started to take them down, reading them, and there was this phone number. And I didn't have to do anything. I phoned him this morning. All is settled. But I also did think that if I couldn't find the number, what I would do is put a note on the door. So that was sorted as well. So, yes, we don't have to, we just hand it on and see it differently. see it differently. I'm absolutely, and I took the dog, one of the dogs I was looking after today on Sunday, I took it for a walk rather, and there was nobody coming around where I was walking, a long walk. And then she kept turning around looking, and then she started to run, and I was running with her. Now, bearing in mind, I am getting older, I can't do what I used to do, thinking I can, thinking that I still can do this. And I fell over. There was no one around. I fell really down.
Was it a shock?
Sorry?
Was it a shock?
Yes.
Mm.
So the woman behind me was walking up. So I thought, well, I can give the dog to her. And then out of the blue, from nowhere, came this woman right near me, coming the other way. And all I could see was angels. I think all these problems I put in front of myself, allowing the dog to pull me and run, letting other people and animals control me. I don't have to do that. I need to take and listen to controlling myself, my true self. I can't do it like I used to. Take note, Linda. So a wonderful lesson today. Thank you so much. It just brought it to light that I can laugh at all this now. And it's a gift to show me. Thank you, Kenny.
Thank you so much for those stories. And it really reminds me of what a bad rap anger is given. But it's surely raw energy that's saying, pay attention, breathe into this. There's a gift here. Chill out and listen. Get present. Love is trying to find the way to you. So be present so it can meet you. That's boundaries.
Yeah. And the silly thing was, when this anger came up, it was such a shock to me, because I said, but Linda, you don't get angry anymore. You don't get angry. It was massive. It was a massive anger. It's a gift. That's the only words I could remember. It's a gift. This is a gift. Not just to me, but for the chap as well. He can take control of what he needs and not pass it on to someone else. So, thank you, Kenny.
I love how alive you are, even telling the story. This is life, isn't it? Stepping into life.
Yes. Thank you.
Thank you.
Who would like to share?
I could tell a little story that's at the back of my mind about yesterday. And for me, this is one of the greatest tragedies that I feel, especially in London, in the UK, in the Western world. And this is the disconnection, physical disconnection, fear of touch, and how important touch is, physical touch. Apparently, if I've got this wrong, it releases oxytocin and dopamine. Feel good, love, but the connection with self, connection with others, connection with Holy Spirit. And yesterday I went to my gym and I did a class with my weight training personal trainer, who's this big, burly, muscly beast of a man, who looked really quite upset. And he told me, there's something up, there's something personal up. I just need to see it through this class and then I'll go home. And the look in his face, he was just like so upset and broken. And he saw it through. And at the end of the class, I followed him in his room just to see if he wanted to say anything or whatever. And he started talking. And I took what unfortunately these days is a big risk. And I walked towards him and I hugged him. and I held him, and he cried. And he needed connection. He needed to not be separate and to just be reconnected with himself, with his emotions, with what's going on, just to be held. And we didn't talk too much. I didn't need to process anything or anything like that. I was just there with another human being who was going through something. And at the end of it, it was normal. It was fine. And he sent me a message later in the day just saying thanks and that things have resolved themselves. And I wonder whether things were given a chance to resolve themselves because there was connection. Him with himself, him with life, him with love, him with Holy Spirit, him with me, him with humanity. But I do find it tragic how starved of physical touch people are and how fearful.
Me again.
Go on, Linda.
You've just reminded me of something following on from this 2 weeks of 2 hours a day coming out of my day for this man. I was really, really stressed out. And I'd gone shopping to Tesco's with my daughter, and she was walking around. I was pushing the trolley, got my handbag over the thing of it, and came out. I was driving. I took the trolley back, got home, and a chap I'm doing another favour for on the other side of the road had phoned me, and I hadn't answered it. I was driving, so I went to get my bag by the side of my car in the passenger seat to get my diary. No bag. So I immediately knew I hadn't got it. It felt that I hadn't. So I phoned my daughter. I said, can you phone Tesco's? I'm going down there. I've lost my handbag. So I drove straight down there, kept cool, and it was a gift. It's showing me I need to calm down everything. So when I got down there, I went to the customer services and I said, my daughter might have just phoned, lost my bag, and this big beam on her face, and she's walking over and she says, is it brown one? I said, yeah. And I could feel the tears coming down because the kindness of whoever gave it in. And the man, she said, she took out my card thing and she said, driving license. Yes, you are that. You are the person. And I said, you know, I could give you a hug because I could give you a hug. And there was another man from Tesco's walking just by the side, and he'd helped me get some elderflower cordial down. It was too high for me. And so I said to him, oh, you're the man that helped me. And I went up and I gave him a hug. I said, I just needed to hug somebody because I was so pleased my handbag's been found. So this touch, and you just don't know where it goes, do you?
Yeah.
You don't know where touch and hugs go. Thank you, Kenny. You're brilliant. Yes.
What a wonderful story. Your life feels full of goodness. And I must admit, from the first time you spoke, I remember when I could never say no.
Well, it's me.
Yeah, it was huge for me to learn to say no with love.
Yes.
And also with a let's meet in this no, rather than if I say no, you will hate me and banish me out of my life, and I will have to say untold amount of Hail Marys to redeem myself, and I'll make myself unlovable. That is just not true. The intimacy of boundaries is where I now realize my relationship with anyone and everyone in this moment can begin before we continue with the merry dance of life and love.
Thank you, Kenny. Oh.
Okay, we've come to the end of our time together.
Oh, thank you.
And give Kenny a big hug.
Yes, hugs, Kenny.
Thank you, Kenny.
Thank you, Kenny.
Thank you.
Thank you, Ken.
So
Thank you, Kenny.